Welcome to TTK-No. My name is Chris Pugh. I'm a technology integration coach for Clarksville, Montgomery County School System. And we're answering a question today that I had from one of our teachers in her district. She asked, is there an app or a website that will do text-to-speech for students so that they can use articles online or reading selections that may be outside of their ability to read independently, but do have the content that they need? So to answer that, the answer is absolutely yes, and it's different depending on where you are. So today I'm going to focus on answering that for Mac or Apple products, because that's what our students in this district tend to have for the elementary level. Later on I'll go and show you from the PC side. But today it's Mac only day, sorry. Okay, so on here, there are a lot of different places that we have. Some of these resources are provided by our state, some are provided by our district. The first one I'm going to stop at is the Worldbook Online. Worldbook Online is provided by the state of Tennessee for every teacher and student in the state of Tennessee. And the way it works, for text-to-speech anyways, once you find the article and the text you want to use, you click on this little gear wheel, choose text-to-speech, and then you can click on the words.
Animal. Animals come in many shapes and sizes. They live throughout the world. Animals walk or crawl on land and dig.
And you just hit stop when you're done. Alright. That's one way. Another website that we have, our district has provided this one. It's called Pebble Go. Pebble Go is mostly kind of aimed for a kindergarten through second grade audience. Our district also has, for the elementary students in third grade through fifth grade, Pebble Go Next, which is more for those upper elementary students. Both Pebble Go and Pebble Go Next have their own speech-to-text technology built into these informational text sources.
Are surrounded by land. Lakes are deeper than ponds.
And you simply click on the speaker button and it reads, and it also tracks, which I like that a lot. What does that for Pebble Go? It continues to do the same thing with Pebble Go Next.
Kentucky and Virginia are Tennessee's northern neighbors.
Okay. Again, I can play that whole thing out. I can go to any of these sections and that button will show up for me to be able to do that. Now, that's specific sources that have text-to-speech built in. They may not be as obvious as it is here in Pebble Go, but there are plenty of ones that have text-to-speech built in. It may be hidden behind a button like the Worldbook one was. For those that don't, for any other website or even a document that you have that you want to have that read to them, you just have to be able to turn on some functionality that's built into the computer itself. So since it's built into the computer itself, it works the same for every text that's on here, whether it's online or a document that they have on their computer somehow. The catch is that it has to be text that you can select. So if it is text that's in a picture, like this picture here, it can't read a picture, and the text that's printed into the picture itself, it can't read that. But because I can select this sentence, this selectable text can be read by the computer's text-to-speech program, and it's built in. It's not something you have to download separate. So here's how you get it turned on. Go to the Apple, and you want to go to the System Preferences. Once you're in System Preferences, there is accessibility, which has a lot of great features, but what I'm needing for right now is dictation and speech. Dictation and speech. Dictation is what you think it would be. It lets you dictate and it turns it into text. But the text-to-speech is the piece that I need right now. And I can change the voice, change the reading speed here. But what is important is that I add a check mark where it says speak selected text when the key is pressed. And then I get to change the key if I don't want to use the ones that are already here. And the one I'm currently using is, I'm using the command button and this accent button. And I'm using a combination because if I try and use just one button, which you would think would be simpler, what it does, it doesn't let that button do anything else but activate text-to-speech. So if it used to type a letter and you assign, say, the letter T, because T stands for talk, then you'll never be able to type a letter T in anything. It'll always just turn on the text-to-speech. That's why they did a combination of two buttons. So I'm using the command button, which is down by the space bar, and then this accent button, which is up by the number 1 on my keyboard. So I have to hit both of those for this to work. Alright, so now that I have that turned on, I'm going to go back here, I'm going to highlight some text like say this, and then I'm going to press those two keys.
A Cornell University graduate student allowed honeybees to sting him in 25 places.
That didn't sound very smart, but it did read really well. And one thing I like about this is that this among several other sources, for between Tribune, I can change the reading level. And here is the higher reading level, or higher Lexile level.
A Cornell University graduate student who allowed honeybees to sting him in 25 places, and a trio of linguists who discovered that almost every language in the world uses the word ha for clarification in a conversation are among the winners of this year's Ig Nobels. The awards honor humorous scientific achievement.
Okay. So again, this particular site lets me change the Lexile level, which is kind of a nice feature, but that has nothing to do with reading, unless you're wanting them to have more along their reading line, closer to their level of reading read to them with the text-to-speech. Now that is great, and that's again turning that on inside your system preferences makes it available to anything that has selectable text. It just doesn't work in that's text as part of a picture. Now that's for the computer. How about for the iPad? Because she did mention apps. Alright, so I can do the same thing on an iPad. I just have to make sure I turn it on. Even though, yes, I can still go to some of those websites like the World Book and Pebble Go and view them from Safari on my iPad, I can do the same thing. I'll need to do everything else that is selectable text. I'll need to go into my Settings app. Instead of System Preferences, it's the Settings app, although they have the exact same icon. It's a bunch of gears inside of a circle. And then once inside the Settings app, I'm going to go to General and then Accessibility. So it's a little different there. Inside of here is one called Speech. And in Speech, I'll have to turn it on, which I've already done. We'll turn on Speak Selection. I can adjust the speed with this slider. I can adjust the speed at which they talk.
Speak selection reads selected content.
I can also turn on or off the ability to highlight content that does that text tracking. So as it's saying the word, it's highlighting it in a different color so that it looks something like this. So once I have this turned on, I can do any of the other ones that I want, even change the voices just like I could on my computer. Let me go back to here. I'm going to go to, let's look at the Prairie Dog one on my iPad instead of the B one again. Touch here and hold and wait for the bubble to show up. And I'm going to kind of stretch that out by grabbing the little bottom bubble. And then I have the ability to hit speak.
Most mornings, Jessica Van Ward and her team go to work. They are armed with peanut butter. She is a wildlife biologist.
Again, I can do that for a single word,
They.
or I can do it for an entire paragraph or document.
They use the peanut butter to help trap prairie dogs in subdivisions across rural pastures in southern Utah. Then they move them away from residents who have been under siege from the small burrowing rodents for years.
Okay. Again, for the iPad, you just have to turn it on inside of the Settings app. For the computer, to turn it on, it's inside of System Preferences. Or you may just want to use a website that already has it built in. And that is how to use text-to-speech on student resources from Apple. I'll do another one later on, which is the PC version. Hope that helps.